Whether you like it or not, anime is continuing to change. But anyway, welcome to my corner of the internet. Please like, comment, and subscribe. That would be much appreciated. Thank you. So, I don't know if you know this, but certain anime that have gotten us through the weird transition from the big three and some of the other staples that have been long gone for many years are ending. Boku no Hero, for one example, Black Clover is nearing its finality, and the anime that we're probably going to talk about today is an anime that ended just about a month ago. It'll be 3 more days, and then officially the manga just ended. And this anime was important. Obviously, I'm talking about Vinland Saga, if you've been living under a rock. The epic adventure historical written by Makoto Yukimura and is been labeled as a soft seinen. I kind of get what that means and I kind of don't, but you know, that's a conversation for another day. Vinland Saga was a very simple anime when you boil it down to its themes, its characters, its setting. It is deceptively simple when you realize we started this journey with a simple goal in mind, and that was of revenge. Thorfinn, our main character, is a young boy who watches his father die. He watches his great warrior father lose, and it warps his psyche and changes him for the worse. He becomes everything his father did not want him to be, and he goes on this sort of journey seeking revenge, even finding kinship within anger, war, desperation, and he is enjoying it immensely. He looks so cool during this period as a disheveled young man who is hell-bent on killing the man and the group of people that ripped a very important piece of his life away from him. And Vinland Saga begins where we get a moment where we see this side of basically Vikings. We get to see this side where it's about dying well in battle, fighting for our masters or for the betters of our groupings. And it becomes this moment where we see it somewhat be useless. There's various moments throughout this first part of Vinland Saga where we grow to understand that what are we doing this all for? Why does it matter? And it leads up to this ultimate sacrifice that pivots the story into a completely different phase, and it throws Thorfinn for a loop. He becomes almost half alive after this moment because he loses his ability to even exact the very revenge that he works so hard for. And he meets different characters, he sees different things, he even is a part of fundamental changes that happen to another character that becomes so incredibly pivotal. This anime is interesting. Vinland Saga was an interesting social experiment about how life changes and what matters and perspectives, and also the chemical reactions throughout these moments. And I think Vinland Saga is probably a modern classic. Now, I have my qualms with it, personally. I enjoyed it for its thought experiments, a lot of its philosophy that definitely broke into the zeitgeist. Like being able to have kids literally quote, "I have no enemies" is kind of sick, and it grows into the ethos of why seinen and shonen are so pivotal and important to what brought anime to the world, because being able to have an anime have such a deep philosophical quote be mainstream is right up my freaking alley as someone who has loved philosophy his entire life and has tried to study different things, and it even brought me towards higher education simply because how did people think so hard about the fundamentals of life and what answers did they come up with. And Vinland Saga is deceptively simple with that, because we start out with revenge and then we come towards thought experiments. Characters are windows into separate ideas of what matters to them. These ideas of having a good death. What am I fighting for? These moments where characters have to examine their reasoning for even wanting to fight and what is worth fighting for. And Thorfinn suffers with this all the time, and that brings us towards the latter half of the anime, where Thorfinn is searching for adventure, a new goal, a new discovery. These things push the anime forward because we've lost revenge and now we have to think about living, which is a very difficult thing to do if you're trying to do it, if that makes any sense. It's very philosophical in a way. The anime tells our character, you don't have a chance to do your revenge. So now you have to figure out how to live past that. And Thorfinn becomes an older man who is a bit wiser. Now, he's still a young man, but he has to see families. He has to see the gentle hands or non-gentle hands that pushed him forward, and the aspirations that come with that, and his want for a land without war. When this was announced in the anime, I'm gonna be honest with you, I wasn't all that interested. I kept watching simply because I wanted to see how this was gonna go, which I think the mangaka did a very good job of introducing a very difficult topic, and it was very symbolic in different moments towards the latter half of Vinland Saga. It was about what war meant and how war changed, and basically peeks into the future if war is allowed to continue at the forefront of human beings' interactions. And unfortunately, one thing I did like about Vinland Saga is it didn't really necessarily have an answer, and I enjoyed that. I enjoyed that it wasn't trying to teach me every little answer that was able to be told to me. Now, obviously, Thorfinn is running around talking about peace, but I also enjoyed that there was characters that had very real rebuttals to this idea of peace while they were trying to make a new life for themselves. I very much enjoyed that it got hairy and human beings were unable to interact peacefully. I enjoyed that there was a very real showcasing of what happens in real life. And Vinland Saga is a 5 out of 5 masterpiece simply because it was realistic about the journey human beings make philosophically, dealing with war, dealing with other people, dealing with new surroundings, and dealing with the ramifications of trying to discover a place where people already were, and also the changes that come from those chemical reactions. The lasting messages of Vinland Saga was, I have no enemies, peace is possible and believable as long as you make the ardent steps for it. There is a lot of love to be shared. There's great moments to be had, and a very much important growth that people can have once they decide to stand up for themselves and be able to protect what matters to them. Vinland Saga has a lot of long-lasting, beautiful messages that, believe me, anyone should give a chance and love. Also, the Sakuga was pretty fucking solid. So with all that being said, I recommend Vinland Saga to you immensely, and I can't wait till the rest of it is animated. So if you have not seen it, please go check it out. It's definitely worth your time. Peace, and remember, you have no enemies. Take care.